As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program with the theme Engineering and Social Economic Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, Women in Engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, Women in Engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, Women in Engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, Women in Engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, Women in Engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, Women in Engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, Women in Engineering. To register, visit Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in Engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, NUESER, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school. Quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in Engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, NUESER, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is the first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school. Quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in Engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, NUESER, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school. Quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in Engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, NUESER, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school. Quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in Engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of chemical engineering law tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program with the theme Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsanational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, NUESER, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of chemical engineering law tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program with the theme Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsanational.org.ng. By Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, NUESER, National Secretariat. Present.
Hello,
National
good afternoon.
NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of chemical engineering law tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program with the theme Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsanational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, NUESER, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES. Hosted by the current National Association student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit with the theme Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsanational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, NUESER, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current national president, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth president of the association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of chemical engineering law tech, Oyo State. As the current president of the association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program with the theme Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dada Mansur Olatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dada Mansur Olatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, women in engineering. To register, visit National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dada Mansur Olatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dada Mansur Olatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dada Mansur Olatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dada Mansur Olatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dada Mansur Olatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dada Mansur Olatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. Scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dada Mansur Olatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dada Mansur Olatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, Quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dr. Mansur Alatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dr. Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school. Quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dr. Mansur Alatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dr. Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school. Quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dr. Mansur Alatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dr. Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school. Quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dr. Mansur Alatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dr. Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school. Quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dr. Mansur Alatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dr. Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring The Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school. Quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dr. Mansur Olatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dr. Mansur Olatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school. Quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, NUESA, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dr. Mansur Olatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dr. Mansur Olatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school. Quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, NUESA, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dr. Mansur Olatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dr. Mansur Olatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school. Quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, NESA, National Secretariat.
Yes, sir.
Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dr. Mansur Olatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dr. Mansur Olatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school. Quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student. Women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association.
Hello?
Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, NUESA, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dr. Mansur Olatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dr. Mansur Olatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, women in engineering. To register, visit www.newsnational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dada Mansur Alatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dada Mansur Alatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, He's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, Women in Engineering. To register, visit www.newsanational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dada Mansur Olatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dada Mansur Olatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, Women in Engineering. To register, visit www.newsanational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association. Nigeria University's Engineering Students Association, Nuesa, National Secretariat. Present. National Engineering Summit, NES 2020. Hosted by the current National President, Dada Mansur Olatunji, the fourth President of the Association. Dada Mansur Olatunji is a first-class male student of Chemical Engineering Law Tech, Oyo State. As the current President of the Association, he's organizing the first ever National Engineering Summit, which has been scheduled as 5 days program. With the theme, Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era, featuring the Graduating League, quiz competition for secondary school, quiz and paper presentation for the undergraduate student, Women in Engineering. To register, visit www.newsanational.org.ng. Proudly brought to you by Nigeria University Engineering Students Association.
Hello and welcome to Nuesa National Summit 2020. As a virtual introduction, my name is Adeolu Timothy, and it's nice to have everybody here. This is to welcome everyone from wherever you're joining, those on the Zoom channel, as well as those joining on YouTube channel. It's interesting to have you here today. So to make it interesting, please, let's engage as much as possible. You can always drop your questions. We have people that are engaging, that are going to compile the questions and pass it across to the necessary quarters. So it's going to be an interesting one. I'm seeing people from Nigerian Society of Engineers joining us already. And we have engineering students all across the nation joining us as well. I am so excited because we are bringing industry professionals to engage everyone. So, there is a major gap we are trying to bridge. And this is one of our ways of contributing as engineers to building our own society, to building the kind of country that we want. You know, nobody's gonna do that for us. We are gonna do that ourselves. It's our responsibility as the citizen of this great country, Nigeria, to rise up to the occasion and build a nation that we want. If there's a question I keep asking myself, And a question that I was asked some times ago is that in the next 50 years, in the next 100 years, if I make the statement, I am a Nigerian, what is that going to mean to me? Currently, we have a lot of struggles we face just going around with that identity being a Nigerian, you know, from trying to apply for opportunities to all forms of discrimination. All right? So it takes the contribution of every quarter, of every individual, to build a nation that we want. So exactly by 2 o'clock, we'll be starting with the opening prayer. So if you have people you need to invite to join us, please do that. It's going to be an interesting ride. We have seasoned professionals that are going to be sharing their thoughts. They are going to be sharing their experiences with us as students that is trying to move into the industry. What are we expected to do? What are we expected to know? How are we expected to contribute our own quota? What skills should we equip ourselves with? Yes, there's so many questions. There's so many questions on our minds. You know, there's this fear of there's unemployment everywhere. So those are things we will be getting answers to. So I'm going to indulge every participant of this August conference to try as much as possible to get the best from this conference. Ask questions, leverage on every platforms available, ask questions, network with people. Most importantly, every information that will be shared, every knowledge that's going to be shared, every value that's going to be shared, make sure you get every detail. Make sure you get every detail. So, in a jiffy, I will invite somebody to take the opening prayer for us. So while we wait for other people to join, yes, I'm seeing people from universities on our YouTube channel as well as on the Zoom channel. You are welcome. It's nice to have everybody here. It is nice to have everybody here. And it's going to interest you. We have our father on board as well. We are very honored to have him with us today. We feel very privileged that he will spend time with us today. And our promise is that we're going to make the best of this audience with him. And everything is going to be sharing with us today. We are going to make the best of it. We are the next generation that is going to build this country. We are engineers, and as engineers, our duty is to build. Our role is to develop. So, well, interestingly, one of the challenges we've been facing in Nigeria is poor internet connection. So, the person that's supposed to take the opening prayer is struggling with connecting. So, I'm going to be doing that for us in a moment. I'm going to be taking the opening prayer in the Christian way. I'm going to be taking the opening prayer in the Christian way. You're all welcome. It's nice to have everyone join us. It's nice to have everyone join us. I am excited. The reason I am excited is because it is easy for everyone to identify problems in a society, but most importantly is the ability to proffer solution to those problems. It's the ability to recommend solutions to those problems and go beyond just identifying the problems and go beyond just knowing what the problem is and going as far as bringing a solution to it. So, in a moment, can we just bow our head as we take the opening prayer? Jesus, we thank you for this moment. And we declare this conference open in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Guide our thoughts and make it very productive. Amen. Well, so I think we are good to go. So next on the line, we are going to be taking the national anthem. From wherever you are, do join us as we honor our nation so that we will do that. So we'll be taking the national anthem now. All right. Thank you very much. So without further ado, we are going to make the best of our time because we want to ensure that we don't waste the time of our Father that has joined us. So we'll be going into the next item before we take the speech by our Father, the President, I'm going to be reading his citation to us. So wherever you are welcome. So in a moment, we'll be having his citation with us on our screen. All right. Engineer Babagana Mohammed, FNSC, is an indigene of Borno State. He took over affairs as 32nd president of the umbrella body of the engineers in Nigeria for a tenure of 2 years. He became president in January 1, 2020. Before becoming the president, he was a two-time vice president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, NSC, and a chief engineer at the National Engineering and Technical Company, NETCO, an arm of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC. Until his recent appointment, he had held 12 positions in the last 13 years. He was a past chairman of NSC Victoria Island branch. He was sworn in at an investiture ceremony held at the International Conference Center, ICC, in Abuja on January 11th, 2020. During his tenure, he has shown keen interest in young engineers, and that is the main reason why Nuesa has moved thus far and will continue to move further. Without further ado, can you all join me as we welcome the president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers as he gives his welcome address. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Yes. My speech is on the screen.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. President Nuesa, my colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is my utmost pleasure to welcome you all to this event, being the Nigeria University Engineering Student Association, Nuesa, first National Engineering Summit. I commend the leadership of Nuesa for putting this event together and thank the guests for taking time to attend the summit, which is being run online. I particularly regard the presence of our guests here today as reflective of the huge importance they attach to development and mentoring of younger generation that we are going to bequeath the profession and practice to in the years ahead. At the occasion of my invitation this year, I emphasize that we will co-opt our young engineers in our quest to making significant contributions to the advancement of technology in Nigeria and worldwide. Thus, joining them for the discussion on the topic, engineering and socio-economic development in a post-COVID era here today is relevant and in line with NSC vision on the development of engineering to fast-track sustainable development. We are all aware that we need to ameliorate the devastating global financial meltdown occasioned by the noble and sheriff Mr. COVID-19. I'm therefore excited that our students are on the same page with us by raising every fundamental issues and seeking solutions toward turning around our economy positively for the good of all citizens at this perilous time. In order to churn out fast-thinking engineers, we are determined to ensure engineering education reforms, which include improved curriculum, resources and equipment for learning institutions. Therefore, every young student needs to be taught the art of problem solving in an ethical manner. It is also essential to expose the engineering students to key management courses so as to help them develop skill, knowledge, and expertise. While assuring the technical content of our training program is of the right quality, we must also introduce elements that provide tools that help engineers to become entrepreneurial leaders in both business and politics. It is our responsibility as engineers and pivotal to the image of the engineering profession in Nigeria to get engineers make first fit connection with public policy going forward. I wish to state here that I consider this opportunity of assembling our think tank as well as our international colleagues a good platform for the exhaustion of all issues hindering the development of engineering in Nigeria. I am in no doubt at the end of this summit, participants will benefit immensely from the wealth of experience and expertise of the invited resources, personnel, and the ultimate objective will be achieved. I also want to reiterate here, in our very short outing, we awarded scholarship to 16 best 2020 UME graduates. That is deliberate. That is deliberate, because you cannot tell me everybody who is engineering is a student who is above average. We need to encourage them to do more. BBN what Big Brother Nigeria, Big Brother Africa, what do you call it? People who go there and do nothing, but they are giving huge sum of money. I repeat, nobody again will give my engineers or my best brains 100,000 naira as a price for being best. We reject it. We will not take it again from anybody. I'm not taking it from anybody. Once you are given as a gift or as a way of appreciating you, 100,000 naira, 250,000 naira as a gift for being best, please return the gift to the owner. Let him take it. We are not poor people. We are not poor. So please hold your money. That's why we are giving them, just students, 1 million naira to start with. That is where your level starts. You can't start anything below 1 million naira. So I wish to thank all of you and wish you and declare this summit open and wish all of you a happy deliberation. And also keep in mind, the new sheriff in town, COVID-19, is real. Please stay safe, obey all the protocols. When you get back to your school, please read. I want to see you with flying colors. I don't want to see you strolling behind. I want my engineers to be the best in whatever you choose to read and whatever you choose to do. You should be, because you are the best, so you should be the best. I wish you happy deliberations. Thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, sir. Can we please give the president a round of applause from wherever we are? Oh, that is amazing. That is amazing. That is amazing. Wow, I wish this was really a physical meetup so that we'll feel the energy in the room. I would like to appreciate our father, the president, sir, for the time spared and those words of encouragement. They actually meant a lot to us. As a youth, a challenge we have had is that excellence is not being rewarded adequately. A challenge we have had is people putting a lot of effort to be innovative, to be daring to, despite the challenges, we make excellent results, but it's not being well recognized. With this now, we can boldly go ahead and be innovative. We can boldly go ahead and explore. We can become more innovative in our endeavors, knowing we have a backup and knowing we have somebody who is supporting us with every available resources. And on behalf of all the engineering students in Nigeria, we say thank you very much, sir. And if there's something we want to promise you is that you will feel us, sir. We are going to be more innovative. And from this conference, we are bringing so many solutions on board that we are going to present to our parent body. Thank you very much, sir. I believe the president is going to do more to that when he comes to deliver his speech. Thank you very much, and we really appreciate the audience with you, sir. Yes, if you are just joining us, this is Nuesa National Engineering Summit 2020. It's before it used to be a physical meetup, but because of the condition of everything, every of our activities has to go virtual. And irrespective of that, we are still going to make the best of it. And I'm excited at the tone at which we are starting this event today. It will interest you, this is the first of its kind Nuesa e-Summit. And I would like to appreciate the convener, the National Working Executive of Nuesa, from the President Dauda Mansour. I would like to actually appreciate their efforts, despite the challenges and everything, they actually made this happen. And for everyone who has contributed, which I believe is going to do justice to acknowledge when it comes on board, we really appreciate your contribution. Specifically, we appreciate the contribution of Nigerian Society of Engineers. Without your support, this wouldn't have happened at all. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, for engineering students listening across the country, if there's something I want us to all put to heart, is something our father said. He said something uniquely, that one of the promises he made is that nobody is going to ridicule us as engineering students or as engineering practitioners again. And I think that is a bold statement that we all can carry on and work with. So please, it shouldn't just be that, oh, the president said this and all of that. We should run with this statement, become more daring, become more innovative, and embrace all of those challenges, knowing that we have a parent body that is ready to support us. Going further, I have someone special joining us in the house. This person is the head of Professional Proficiency, Development and Certification Unit for Koren, and is representing the Koren president. So, in a moment, I'm going to be bringing him on board. But before that, please, if you have any question, if you have any challenges, please drop it in the chat box. We have people handling technical support that will definitely get the message and pass it across to the appropriate quarters. So, like we said, the theme for this year's conference, National Engineering Summit, is Engineering and Social Economic Development in a Post-COVID Era. The advent of COVID, when COVID came up, it affected a whole lot of things. It affected so many things. It changed the way everything is being done. It changed the way we engage with people. It changed the way we relate with people. It changed the way we do business. It changed the way we even do our work. Some of us have not been to our offices in the last 3 to 4 months. And of course, it has changed the kind of skills that are being, that is in demand. It has changed kind of skills that is in demand. So this prompted us to start to think it's not just enough to prepare for the future, but most importantly, we must prepare for a future where we'll be relevant. We must prepare for a future where we'll be relevant. So that was what brought up this theme for this year's event. So before we proceed, I'm going to quickly introduce to us the current president in absentia, but is ably represented here. So I'm going to be reading his citation to us in a moment. So, in absentia, I have the citation of the current president in person of Engineer A.A. Rabiu, FNSC, FNIC, the current president of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Engineer A.A. Rabiu is an accomplished practicing civil engineer and manager of resources and men. He was born on April 24th, 1963 in Lafia, Nasarawa State. He holds higher national diploma from Federal Polytechnic Bida, bachelor's degree in civil engineering, and has attended local and international courses. For his many contributions to the community and his novel works, he was honored with the traditional title of Sigarin Lafia by His Royal Highness Alhaji Isa Mustafa Agwai I, the Emir of Lafia. He has also received various awards and recognition, both from professional circles and the society. Sigarin Lafia, as he is fondly called, is a former vice president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, NSC, and has served the current council in the past years. He has extensive experience in various aspects of civil engineering works, particularly construction, supervision, and procurement services, spanning more than 30 years. He also has had experience in management and policy making. He has served the nation in various capacities, some of which are member, Presidential Monitoring Team of DFRRI, that is Rural Water and Sanitation Program, Sokoto and Kebbi States, consultant and member, House of Representatives Ad hoc Committee on the Investigation of Flooding of the Goronyo Dam, Sokoto State, member, Governing Council, Federal College of Education, Technical, Bichi, Kano State, and chairman, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Kano Branch, chairman, Technical Committee to assess the damages and losses caused by the fire outbreak at Muhammadu Abubakar Rimi Market, Kano State, vice president, Nigerian Society of Engineers, to mention but a few. It is my pleasure and privilege to welcome everybody from Koren to this year's summit. We really appreciate your presence, and sincerely, we do not take this for granted. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome Engineer Precious Onoa, MNSC, the Head Professional Proficiency Development and Certification Unit Koren, as to deliver his speech. You're welcome, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma.
It's actually Ma, not sir.
Apologies for
Good
that.
afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure. I'm here in the stead of the current president, Engineer Ali Masuya Rabiu, FNSE, F9s. All right, so I will just be reading his paper. It is my singular honor and privilege to address this teeming gathering of creative young minds who have made the best decision to pursue a worthwhile career in our prestigious engineering profession. It feels good to be in your midst this day, marking your National Engineering Summit 2020. Unfortunately, this gathering would have been a physical one, except for the current COVID-19 pandemic, which the entire world is faced with. But then, all thanks to technology for making this virtual summit possible. First and foremost, I applaud the founding members of Nuesa for coming up with the initiative of instituting the student wing of the Nigerian Society of Engineers as a body to interface between students and key stakeholders across engineering organizations, industries, and the government. In obedience to the clarion call of promoting academic excellence and building career competence of students in all Nigerian universities. This will make our Nigerian engineering students and graduates have an edge over their counterparts, as well as compete favorably. Now you have endless opportunities to be well acquainted with current trends and advancements in the practice of engineering, even as students, and for the promotion of your welfare and interests. This is a giant stride from what it used to be, I must say. The resultant advantage lies in shaping the course of technological development in Nigeria. Therefore, I urge every one of you to make the most out of this rare opportunity. And congratulations to the planning committee on the planning and successful execution of this summit. Definitely required and consumed a whole lot of time, resources, and generation of ideas. I commend you all and urge you to continuously raise the bar and bring up more innovative ideas, which will put this association on the spotlight. Upcoming leaders must improve on previous accomplishments and the system in general. The theme of this summit, Engineering and Social Development in a Post-COVID Era, has been judiciously selected to suit the present situation the entire world is faced with. The relationship between engineering and social development, engineering as a social enterprise. I don't know if I should share. Can I share the paper so
Yes,
that it
you
could
can
be
do.
on the screen?
Yes, we would appreciate
Okay.
that.
But you have to enable me to share the screen. Yes.
I'm doing it. Huh?
Okay.
All right, you can go ahead, man. Share.
Okay. Okay. I think it's up now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I've gone past the introduction. Yes, this is where I am now. So relationship between engineering and social development. Engineering as a social enterprise. Simply put, this relationship is the basis for how the society is influenced by engineering and technology. It goes ahead to show how engineering responds to the society's needs and how social forces shape what engineers do as well as what they can achieve. It goes ahead to explore ways in which technology and society form inseparable elements in a complex socio-technical system. Engineering plays a key role in supporting the growth and development of a country's economy, as well as in improving the quality of life for citizens. As such, there is an important link between the country's engineering capacity and its economic development. But what impact really does engineering have on the society? In fact, engineers have completely changed the world we live in, from modern homes, bridges, space travel, cars, and the latest mobile technology. Innovative ideas are at the heart of what engineers do, and they use their knowledge to create new and exciting prospects and solve any problems that may arise. The engineer is in constant interaction with the public, employer or client, and colleagues in his quest to provide comfort and the development of infrastructure for the society. Thus, must hold the public safety, welfare, and health paramount, and use their knowledge and skill for the enhancement of human welfare. This is part of an implicit social contract all engineers agree to when they accept admission to an engineering association or get licensed to practice the engineering profession in Nigeria by the regulatory body, COREN. Upholding the dignity of man is a fundamental value of our society that never should be violated by an engineering design. This happens when the design or operation of a technological product, example, a building, a machine, or a procedure, fails to recognize the importance of individuality, privacy, diversity, and aesthetics, and is based on a stereotyped view of a human being. Another value is that of avoiding dangerous or uncontrolled side effects and byproducts. The challenge to engineering is how to fulfill its social purpose in ways that either control side effects and byproducts or make them more easily foreseeable. This demands a rigorous preliminary examination of how to solve a problem and achieve a given social purpose. The problem is complicated beyond measure by the multitude of pressures leading to the development of a design or a technology, be they political, technological. These pressures can lead to unwise outcomes beyond the ability of engineering to solve, for example, the deferral of municipal maintenance due to constrained budgets or the abandonment of nuclear power plants in some Western countries. Thirdly, making provisions for consequences when technology fails is a fundamental value of our society that never should be violated by an engineering design or activity. The importance of making provisions for the consequences of failure is self-evident, especially in those systems that are complex, pervasive, and place us at great risk if they fail. A simple example is the failure of an air conditioning system in a closed ventilation system, as occurred tragically in 1990 at Mecca, with the loss of over 1,000 lives. A more complex example is the space shuttle. Because it is the sole vehicle for the multitude of space tasks, any of its failures set back our position in space. So engineers have tended to focus on the development of new technologies rather than the social setting, municipal bureaucracies, school systems, and homes in which that technology is to become acceptable if it is to be successful. Then talking about engineering as a profession, um, a general definition of a profession is a peculiar type of functional group with highly specialized characteristics that include expertise, skill, responsiveness, and corporateness. Engineering itself is a branch of science and technology concerned with the design and use of machines and structures. It is the usage of scientific principles to design and build machines, structures, including bridges, tunnels, roads, vehicles. The list is endless. Engineering is life, as it is the profession that provides comfort for humanity. Now, characteristics of the engineering profession: command of the engineering specialized body of knowledge, recognized training and regular updates, which is the continuing professional development CPD. Of course, the engineering profession is governed by codes of ethics and standards geared towards satisfaction and safety of the society. It has monopoly, which is granted to engineering professionals, and members are committed to constant educational renewal and yearly practicing license renewal. And of course, and most importantly, the engineering profession is regulated. Okay, so this is a brief introduction of COREN. COREN is the regulatory body of engineering in Nigeria. So we can't talk about engineering without talking about COREN. So COREN is a statutory body set up by the federal government of Nigeria and established by Decree number 55 of 1970, as amended by Decree 27 of 1992, and now Engineers Registration, etc. Act Cap E11 of 2004, further amended Engineers Registration, etc. Act number 3 of 2018, with the mandate to regulate the practice of engineering in all aspects and ramifications. So COREN carries out this mandate through accreditation of engineering programs in universities, polytechnics, and technical colleges, registration of engineering personnel and firms, engineering regulation monitoring, and issuance of engineering regulations. These are the mandates of COREN: to regulate and control engineering practice in Nigeria in all its aspects and ramifications, to ensure that engineering is practiced by industry, government, and professionals according to acceptable and prescribed standards and abiding by the ethics and canons of the profession. Ensure appropriate training and use of engineering personnel. Now, relating engineering to the subject of the day, which is talking about social development in this post-COVID-19 era. So what's the implication of COVID-19 pandemic on the Nigerian climate? In December 2019, a cluster of pneumonia cases from an unknown virus surfaced in Wuhan, China. Based on initial laboratory findings, the disease, named coronavirus disease 2019, abbreviated as COVID-19, was described as an infectious disease that is caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. The COVID-19 outbreak has since spread to about 196 countries and territories in every continent and one international conveyance across the globe. While there are ongoing efforts to curtail the spread of infection, which is almost entirely driven by human-to-human transmission, it has accounted for thousands of confirmed cases and deaths. Beyond the tragic health hazards and human consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic, the economic uncertainties and disruptions that have resulted come as a significant cost to the global economy. The United Nations Trade and Development Agency put the cost of the outbreak at about 2 trillion US dollars in 2020. Most central banks, finance ministries, and independent economic experts around the world have taken solace in the prediction that the impacts might be sharp but short-lived, and economic activities would return to normal thereafter. Sector-specific implications and impacts could vary. For example, the impacts on the global aviation and tourism sectors are a result of the implications of the pandemic on global travel. The virus is also taking its toll on health facilities and infrastructures around the globe. Nigeria witnessed this when there was a sudden rapid construction of isolation and test center facilities in different states of the Federation. Now, how do we cope with this pandemic? Bracing up for COVID-19 consequences on the Nigerian economy. For most developing economies, the odds of sliding into a downturn are gradually expected as the global coronavirus outbreak puts severe pressure on the economy. For Nigeria, the country is still sluggishly grappling with recovery from the 2016 economic recession, which was the fallout of global oil price crash and insufficient foreign exchange earnings to meet imports. The spirit of economic recovery and growth sustainability, the Nigerian federal budget for the 2020 fiscal year was prepared with significant revenue expectations, but with contestable realizations. The approved budget had projected revenue collections at 8.24 trillion naira, an increase of about 20% from the statistics of 2019. The revenue assumptions are premised on increased global oil demand and stable markets with oil price benchmark and oil outputs respectively at $57 per barrel and 2.18 million barrels per day. The emergence of the COVID-19 and its increasing incidence in Nigeria has called for drastic review and changes in the earlier revenue expectations and fiscal projections. Compared to events that led to recession in 2016, the current state of the global economy poses more difficulties ahead as the oil price is currently below 30 US dollars, with projections that it will dip further going by the price war among key players in the industry. Unfortunately, the nation has grossly underachieved in setting aside sufficient buffers for rainy days, such as it faces in the coming days. In addressing these daunting economic challenges, the current considerations to revise the budget downward is inevitable. However, certain considerations that are expected in the review must not be left out. The assumptions and benchmarks must be based on realizable thresholds and estimates to ensure optimum budget performance, especially on the non-oil revenue components. Furthermore, cutting expenditures must be done such that the already excluded group and vulnerable are not left to bear the brunt of the economic contraction. The Economic and Growth Recovery Program, which has the aim of increasing social inclusion by creating jobs and providing support for the poorest and most vulnerable members of the society through investments in social programs and providing social amenities, will no doubt suffer some setbacks. Besides, the downward review of the budget and contractions in public spending could be devastating on poverty and unemployment. The last unemployment report released by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) ranks Nigeria 21st among 181 countries with an unemployment rate of about 23.1%. The country has also been rated as the poverty capital of the world, with an estimated 87 million people living on less than $2 a day threshold. The decision to cut the retail price of gasoline under a price modulation arrangement is a welcome development. The cut is expected to curb rising inflation, especially food price inflation, which will mainly benefit the poor. However, rather than the price capping regime introduced, by which it is expected of the Petroleum Products Price Regulation Agency, PPPRA, to constantly issue monthly guide on appropriate pricing regime. It is expected that the government will use this opportunity to completely deregulate the petroleum industry in line with existing suggestions and reports. In the event that the global economy becomes healthier and crude oil prices increase, the government might return to the under-recovery of the oil price shortfall by the NNPC, a policy that annually costs the government huge revenue and recurring losses to the NNPC. So basically, the Nigerian government essentially the economic diversification drive it is one practical way to saddle through the one track take bans on oil, priorities, alternatives, agriculture, solid minerals, manufacturing, and services should be further intensified. Now, the emerging opportunities for I think I lost connection.
Yes, yes. Oh, we can hear you now.
Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. All right, so the presidential executive or the five, we all know that the president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, on the 5th of February 2018, signed it into law to improve local content in public procurement with science, engineering, and technology components. The executive order demonstrates the federal government's efforts to promote the application of science, technology, and innovation within Nigeria. This is a step towards achieving the nation's developmental goal of improving all sectors of the economy. In the proclamation entitled Presidential Executive Order 5 for Planning and Execution of Projects, Promotion of Nigerian Content in Contracts and Science, Engineering, and Technology, the President directed all ministries, departments, and agencies to engage indigenous professionals in the planning, design, and execution of national security projects. Therefore, there are roles and opportunities for the engineering family in this regard. Another is the recently amended Current Act. The amendment of the Current Act in 2018 broadened the capacity of Council, which is current, with far-reaching powers in regulating the engineering profession, amongst others, enhancing prosecutorial powers, expanding the quality and scope of its regulations, improving the sources of funds, strengthening its administration, strengthening the practice and professional development of the engineering profession, enforcing professional discipline, establishing an engineering regulation monitoring unit within the council, within COREN, strengthening the definition and concept of the practice of engineering. So the review of the act as assented to by President Muhammadu Buhari in March 2019 has broadened the powers of COREN to get involved and by extension, members of the engineering family in engineering projects and other related works. Now, this coronavirus pandemic has opened a vista of opportunities in technology for engineering professionals. We now have the manufacture of automated hand washing machines, manufacture of respirators, and it is hoped that the field of biomedical engineering will become more attractive and challenging. The rise in usage of online platforms, which were rarely recognized before now. For example, the Zoom we're making use of now for this summit. Engineering professionals have exhibited increased capacity for constructive thoughts, thinking outside the box and wider in a bid to profess solutions to world problems. Now, here are the recommendations and conclusion. For all members of Nuesa to show unequaled commitment to this cause and improve on strides and past achievements. In this COVID-19 and even after the COVID-19 era, there are so many opportunities which can be seized by young engineering students online. For example, participating in competitions, local and international, attending resourceful webinars such as this, applying for membership of related associations, initiate and engage in educative interactions with contemporaries, learn soft skills, take online courses. To imbibe the spirit of entrepreneurship, to think outside the box and be versatile. Also, creativity is key, to have an eye for identifying societal problems and be innovative. Of course, that's what engineering is all about. And this will make the urge to seek solutions flow naturally. To seek good mentorship, very important, from senior experienced practitioners in the profession. At least to have a guide, to know where you're headed. There are people who have already gotten there, in the profession, to get good mentorship from senior experienced practitioners in the profession. Research and study, and also to adapt to working remotely efficiently. In fact, so many organizations right now are working remotely. I know most of them in Lagos that have even closed down their physical offices. They've already adapted to working remotely. And also preparation, very important. When preparation meets opportunity, there is always a spark. Not just when you have an opportunity and you're not prepared, then that means you wouldn't get that opportunity. So this is the end of the current president's paper. Thank you so much for having me to do this in his stead. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Very much, Ma. We really appreciate that. That was detailed. That was detailed. That was detailed. We really appreciate that contribution. We sincerely are taking notes, and we are going to make the best of it. We are going to make the best of it. We really appreciate the paper presentation. A lot of people are asking for the copy, which I know we are going to make available to them. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, I would like to, at this juncture, appreciate every participant from Total. We see you joining our conference, and sincerely, we appreciate your presence. We appreciate your contribution. It gives us that confidence that we can go as far as we decide to You know, when we have the people in the industry that are ahead of us, you know, leading us on and giving us all the support we have, we would face the challenges we encounter with all confidence. And in summary, there was something she mentioned during her speech is she highlighted the challenges coronavirus has brought to us all. You know, from challenging the way we think, the way we do practically everything, and of course, the opportunities it has availed unto us, and how we can go ahead to leverage on such opportunities. And specifically, she talked about being innovative and embracing mentorship. And I believe engineering students across board, we are going to take advantage of all of this information at our disposal and reach out and connect. There are so many platforms to connect with seasoned professionals now. We can easily go on LinkedIn and engage them, send them connect. We can get their contact from their, wherever they work, the company where they work with, you know, we can easily work with them, check the company's website, get their contact email addresses and all of that. So every of these things, I believe we will leverage upon, we will reach out more to our parent bodies, our practicing engineers. We really appreciate. Thank you for the honor. In a moment, I would like to appreciate Koren for the support. We look forward to more collaboration with Koren in the future. Of course, in place of sponsorship for competition, in place of internship opportunities for our students, and in place of funding our research and our innovative ideas. And we believe when we reach out to them, they are definitely going to welcome us with open arms. Thank you very much. Going forward, we have, and I would like to invite someone to take the citation of the managing director of Total, in person of Mr. Odali Jaswil, a member of Nuesa and an intern in Total. We'd like to welcome you on board.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Odali Jaswil, a student of Keynote State University of Science and Technology. Currently, I'm having my internship in Total EMP, so I'll be taking the citation of the managing director of Total EMP. Thank you for hearing. Mike Sangster is the managing director of Total EMP Nigeria Limited. He's also the country chair and representative of Total Group in Nigeria. In a career spanning over 24 years at Total, Mr. Sangster has served in various capacities with extensive experience in business and management. Prior to his appointment as managing director of Total EMP Nigeria Limited in July 2019, Mike Sangster was the senior vice president investor relations of Total. Before his role in investor relations, Mr. Sangster was the managing director of Total EMP Australia, president and general manager of Total EMP Thailand, vice president economics and strategy and planning, vice president business and development strategy for Total EMP USA, and senior international negotiator. Prior to joining Total, Mike qualified as an electrical engineer at the University of Aberdeen and was corporate development manager of Scottish Power. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you very much for that excellent citation. So it is our pleasure to welcome the managing director of Total EMP Nigeria Limited, in person of Mike Sangster, for his presentation.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, and I hope you can understand the Scottish accent as well. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit more difficult.
We are doing fine.
Well, listen, I think thanks very much for the invitation to be with you this afternoon. It's a real pleasure. I'd like to thank the president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, the president of Nuesa, and say hello again to all the distinguished guests and to everyone that's taking part today. So I guess I'll give an industry perspective on the issues that you're discussing at this conference, and I think it's a it's a fantastic idea. It's a great initiative, for Nuesa to direct your energies meaningfully to come up with the summit at this time. I mean, the world has changed for everyone because of the COVID, and I think your theme, engineering and social development in a post-COVID era is really relevant to the current times. I think this pandemic, it took the world by complete surprise. I mean, 5 months ago, we could never have imagined where we are today, and it's impacted the lives of everyone in Nigeria and, of course, all over the world. I mean, Nigeria obviously had a lot of challenges to address, but I think the country stepped up to address these challenges with lots of initiatives with the private sector and the public sector, as well as international organizations and donors. Use this opportunity just to mention some of our own interventions in combating COVID-19. I mean, as a corporate and socially responsible company, we certainly tried to rise to the call of the federal government, and along with our partners, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, which was mentioned in the previous presentation, the industry is donating 21 billion naira in support of the federal government's COVID-19 efforts. Our own contribution, I mean, we tend to count it in dollars rather than naira, but we're contributing $3.2 million in building 4 medical centers in the north of the country. And we've also provided support where we operate to the Lagos state government with some supplies and medical equipment. And again, in River State, where we have our operational base in Port Harcourt, we've reached out to stakeholders providing medical supplies and support for our host communities. And also, we're an integrated group with exploration and production and also downstream. And our downstream company, Total Nigeria PLC, has donated some 50 million naira as part of a combined contribution from the major oil marketing association of Nigeria. And they've also been providing some fuel for the Lagos state government as well to help support their logistics. So, I mean, clearly this pandemic has changed the face of the world, from commerce through to traditional social infrastructures in many, many ways. And I think it's a new world order, which I think we're going to have to get used to. I mean, I'm not sure when life will get back to what it was before. I mean, as some people, welcome to the new normal. And I think this virtual conference is a good example of how we're all having to adapt to the different times. But it's often in these times of crisis and change that you actually start to see the real range of opportunities that can be presented and can be taken up. Many people will often see the problems in a time of crisis, but the smart, the discerning, I mean, it's a chance for them really to seize the moment, to seize the opportunity, to retool themselves, to reinvent, and really to become the pioneers of new products and services. And again, the engineering profession, and I mean, as you heard from my CV, I'm an engineer myself. I mean, it's a noble profession and one that continues to evolve, and I think, to drive technology, and it really can be the driver of social development in this post-COVID-19 era. I mean, clearly no nation can develop without engineers. Nigeria needs engineers, technically competent, who are entrepreneurial, who see the opportunities amid, the development and the economic challenges facing the nation. I think, you can either develop something new, or of course, you can also add value to existing products and services. So, I mean, in today's circumstances, a growing number of organizations are encouraging their employees to collaborate and to work remotely. And I'm sure for engineers like yourselves, I mean, it will take a lot of creativity to set up the structures that will form the superstructure, if you like, on which social and professional interactions can be built going forward. I mean, in my own experience, I mean, 4 or 5 months ago, I'd never heard of Zoom, or I'd never heard of Microsoft Teams. And now I spend all my day speaking to my laptop. I mean, it's just a completely new way of working, but it works well. I mean, we can see with this conference that, I mean, these things can be done. So, technology is there to support us, and people will adapt. I think especially young people, I mean, can really lead the way in terms of adapting to this new world order. So I mean, but again, you know, there are many challenges, and I think the pandemic, you know, has exposed, you know, the fragility and the vulnerability of the country as a whole, and the healthcare system in particular. And again, the previous speaker, you know, highlighted some of the challenges in terms of the, you know, the poverty in the country. But I think, I mean, as engineers, this really places you in a unique position of opportunities to try and find the solutions to the problems. You know, let's not call them problems, let's call them opportunities. You know, I mean, many of the social behaviors that have been prescribed to combat COVID-19, you know, will become the new acceptable norm, you know, post-pandemic. We need to continue with social distancing. You know, we need to continue with the use of face masks and hand sanitizer and other behaviors to that will remain with us for many months and many years to come. You know, some existing technologies were hurriedly put in place to facilitate these behaviors, but we need to continue to see more improvements in these technologies. You know, well, I'm sure new ones will evolve and will appear. And again, engineers really need to be front and center of these initiatives. I mean, we saw in Nigeria in the early days, I mean, there is a major shortage of ventilators, of intensive care beds, of equipment and facilities. Testing has been a big challenge as well, I think, in Nigeria. I mean, honestly, when you look at the number of tests that have been done in Nigeria, then it's difficult to really understand the spread of the pandemic. I mean, we really need to expand the testing capacity for the country. You know, again, there's a need for lots of local solutions as well to help people, you know, to live in this environment. So I mean, I think really as a profession, we really need to look at the range of issues, the range of problems, and apply our knowledge to see how these things can be solved. So I mean, what can be your contribution as engineers to these issues? And I think it's important to remember as well that, I mean, it doesn't always have to be the latest cutting edge engineering coming out of a lab that's needed to provide solutions to some of the most urgent issues in society. I mean, it can be simple innovations and quickly thinking outside of the box that's often needed. And again, you know, a little bit of research on Google can show you some things that have been done. For example, some researchers at the Imperial College of London, which is a renowned engineering school, and the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, that they developed for Tanzania a very simple technology which consists of single-use tabs of soap in various ways for dispensing them. And this has changed social behavior in Tanzania and resulted in increasing hand washing. And again, if we think back in time as well, things like, you know, companies like Apple, I don't know, you guys are probably too young to remember the initial iPods, but I mean, the idea of an iPod, I mean, you know, the means to store information digitally existed, you know, for many years, but Apple had the idea to put it onto if you like, an attractive looking device, which then developed into the iPhone. They added a camera. So, I mean, you can see how, I mean, technology is supporting the development of companies like Apple, but it's really the underlying ideas, the need, the use, the attractivity of the product that drives forward. So let's not get tied up too much in the front end technology. And if we go forward looking on the theme of engineering and social development, you can also draw from, I mean, we have some examples ourselves at Total. Our ambition is to deliver world-class energy solutions and to add economic value to all the countries in which we operate. You know, we want to promote best practices in safety and environmental protection, business ethics and corporate social responsibility. And I say, you know, much as we are known for the use of cutting edge technology, we do strive to be known as the responsible energy major. And that's very important for us. So, I mean, and again, in terms of innovation, a major event within the group annually is what we call the Best Innovators Competition, which is a contest which is aimed at honoring, lauding, you know, the most innovative minds in the company. And every year, this competition encourages, you know, our teams to come up with new solutions to enhance the efficiency of our operations in all areas. So that can be technical, it can be business, it can be safety, it can be in human resources, finance, communications. I mean, in many areas. And again, globally, you know, we have been at the forefront of many of the, you know, the groundbreaking business innovations in which we've implemented. And let me just maybe give one or two examples of some of the things that we have put in place recently. One which I like very much is one that we call METIS, which is an acronym for Multi-Physics Exploration Technology Integrated System, which doesn't really mean very much. But essentially, we had challenges sometimes, shooting seismic data, to understand what the subsurface looks like. We shoot seismic data, and to do that offshore, you can do it with a vessel, and you can set off your sounds, and you can trail streamers behind your vessel, and you can pick up the reflections. Onshore is much more difficult, especially in say somewhere like Papua New Guinea, which is a jungle environment. So METIS is a system which essentially uses drones to drop sensors into the jungle, and these sensors are biodegradable. So we're able to do a seismic acquisition, much more cheaply and without any impact on the local, with a much lower impact on the local environment, and able to get good quality data. So that's one that I really like and is having a good impact for the company. Another one really concerns, computing, and that, once we've collected all this seismic data, we've got huge volumes of data, and then we need to apply our algorithms to process it and to interpret it. So again, we have been at the forefront there in terms of developing, one of the world's most powerful supercomputers, and one that we commissioned last year, I think was certainly the largest in the industry, and I think it was the 11th largest, I think, in the world, including public institutions as well. And this really helps us to understand our data and to get better visions, better views of the subsurface. And I think another important point there as well, that again, the role of engineers, that as the computing develops, then this new machine uses 90% less energy per petaflop than the ones that we had previously. So again, there's advances in computing, but there's also the engineers that build the hardware. And if we look a little bit closer at home in Nigeria, again, here we have a long history of partnership for economic development with the government and with the people. We've been here for more than 60 years now. It's a very important operation for Total globally. I think we've made some significant contributions. We are the only international oil company now which is present in the entire oil and gas value chain. In other words, we're in the upstream, we produce, we explore for, we produce, and we develop oil and gas resources. We're also in the midstream, we transport it, and we're also in the downstream, so we sell the final products to our customers. And again, it's very important for us and gives us a good vision of the whole market in Nigeria. And again, we are looking at, say, new ideas to help combat impact on the environment. So one thing that we've recently established is a plastic recycling plant in Port Harcourt, and this was a local engineer that spent some time at our head office in Paris and had the idea to develop a recycling centre. So now we've started building 1,000 tons per annum polyethylene and polypropylene recycling plant near Port Harcourt, which again will help to reduce the impact on the environment and to come up with useful products, which we can then use for other products that we're making and selling ourselves. We're trying to drive the energy transition as a company, and we're investing more and more in new energies and renewable energies. And we have a 1 megawatt solar station that we installed recently for Right Foods in Nigeria. And again, I think it's very good for some remote rural locations that we can provide these off-grid solutions. So by using photovoltaic cells, we're able to provide energy to customers who may be a long way from the national grid. So it's also clean, but it's also cost-effective, and it saves burning diesel in generators, which is still very common. And we're also trying to install solar panels in many of our service stations. We have about 580 service stations across the country, and today about 78 of them have been solarized. So again, it's reducing the consumption of energy that we do ourselves. And I think in the upstream sector, which is the one I'm closest to, then I think we've been a very prominent player in the deep offshore developments in the country, where we demonstrated our technological expertise on fields like Ophon, Usan, Akpo, and more recently the Egina field. The deepwater Egina field, started up just at the very beginning of 2019. And now it's adding about 200,000 barrels of oil per day to Nigeria's production. Well, at least it would be if it wasn't for the OPEC quotas, which again were mentioned in the previous presentation. But the capacity of the field is 200,000 barrels a day. And again, I think this one was groundbreaking, on the one side because of the technology that was put in place, but also with the level of Nigerian content, where 77% of the engineering man hours were done in country. And I say this is and it's also a facility which has got zero flaring. So again, we're not burning any of the gas that we produce. All the gas that we produce is piped to shore and is either used in the domestic market or for LNG exports. And again, I think it's worth mentioning here as well that, as an oil and gas company, we can buy a lot of the technology that we use in our facilities, whether it's drilling or whether it's mechanical or electrical engineering. But where we can add value as a company and where our engineers can add value is by bringing this all together. So we have reservoir engineers, we have drilling engineers, we have completion engineers, the electrical, mechanical, naval, flow assurance, safety. And I think the value of engineers in a company like Total has been able to manage all these different disciplines together and to bring them all together and to deliver, a project such as Egina, which is a $14 billion investment, which has been done in Nigeria, but with components coming from all over the world. So I think it's an important part of your role as an engineer is not only to know your speciality, but to be able to work with people from other disciplines as well. And I think it's also important that we also invest in the development of people. And that's one of the reasons why much of our corporate social responsibility is centered around capacity development, employability, health, education, and developing talent. And so in collaboration with the federal government and some other partners, we've invested in several human capital development initiatives. And some of the ones I wanted to mention are the Institute of Petroleum Studies, which offers world-class education for industry-oriented training, continuing education, applied research, capacity building, and community service, really to meet the needs of the technological advances in the oil and gas industry here in Nigeria. It was established in 2003, and I think already there's been more than 500 graduates have gone through the program, and with well above 90% now being employed in the oil and gas industry. I think another one, a slightly different one, is the MIT Empowering the Teacher program, which again gives an opportunity to some outstanding young Nigerian teachers of science and engineering to collaborate with the MIT in Boston to help develop new curriculum and teaching methods that adopt the MIT's emphasis on problem solving and developing that entrepreneurial spirit among students. And I was lucky enough myself to spend a week at MIT a few years back. And you're really, coming from the UK and say spending a week at MIT in the US, you can really see the difference between the British approach to engineering and the American approach. And certainly the MIT, it's very much practical and focused on how you can commercialize the research being done within the institution. So again, I think it's very laudable. I think a lot can be learned from an institution such as MIT. We also provided funded some research for the African University of Science and Technology. And there's also what we call the Catch Them Young program, where we help to discover children at an early age, from primary school age, to try and groom them, through written tests from our host communities, and to try to give them a chance really to compete, with other children, from some of the, let's say, the more highly regarded schools in the country, so they can compete for programs at a university. And I think one of these ones, a recent product of this program, was Poly Destiny Ike from the Ama community near our OML 58 field in River State. She emerged winner of the 2020 Cambridge International Learners Award. So I think it's important we work with our host communities as well. And we also offer many, many scholarships to young people, locally and internationally, again, to give everyone a chance to develop themselves. And we also participate at many conferences, used to be physically, now it's now these participations are virtual. I'm looking forward to the day when we can get back to the physical participation at conferences such as this one. And I think the final one I wanted to mention is what we call the Total Startupper Challenge, which is one that tries to drive innovation and spur creativity amongst young people like yourself. And it's a biannual program that runs certainly across Africa, where we try and encourage new people, young entrepreneurs, to come up with ideas and give them a little bit of a leg up. Many of the past winners in this challenge are also engineers. So I think our overall aim really is to identify with sponsoring these stakeholders, really is development of competencies and capacity building, so that that Nigerians are able to provide the solutions that the country needs to address the development challenges. I think confronting these challenges is becoming more urgent, in light of the current pandemic. I think beyond these interventions, I know this summit is about how the engineering profession can play its part in solving the problems, in our world, but especially here in Nigeria. I mean, as always, we as a company will continue to collaborate with all stakeholders, such as yourselves at Nuesa, I think in this collective effort to try and build a prosperous nation. I think the world as we knew it, I mean, who knows if it will ever be the same again, with these unprecedented events. I think maybe we've started a new cycle of evolution. I'm sure from this pandemic there'll be several new solutions which will be developed. And so I think, as I said at the beginning, I think it is a time for disruptive innovations. And I think you guys as young engineers, I really think you have a key role to play in shaping the future. I mean, as embryonic engineers, I mean, I implore you, to pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, get ready for the future that lies ahead, and prepare, prepare long and hard, beyond your school curriculum for relevance, post-university, I mean, on a global scale, for the opportunities, that will present themselves. I think you need to be nimble. I mean, I'm sure, you are nimble. You need to imbibe an innovative mindset. I think that's really important. I mean, in the current environment, the world is changing faster than ever. So I think, be prepared to learn, to unlearn, and to relearn. It is an increasingly competitive world. I mean, we're seeing that in a big organization like Total, a very big, large, heavy organization, process-oriented, but, really we need to learn. We need to learn new ways of doing business as well, and adapt quickly. And I think, as Charles Darwin once said, it's not the strongest species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the ones most responsive to change. So again, I think this, in the current environment, the people that are able to adapt to change and drive the change and build off the change are the ones that will succeed. So, I maybe want to just conclude by reconfirming our conviction at Total that, personally, I've been in Nigeria now for just over a year, and I think there's a huge wealth of talent in the country, young talent in the country. I mean, it's very impressive, and I think there clearly is a very good entrepreneurial spirit as well amongst the young people here. And I think it's important that engineers really form part of that. I think you're the ones that can make the nation proud, and can really drive change in Nigeria. And, I think the previous speaker as well mentioned the challenges of poverty. I think there's a real role to be played here for engineers to help lift more and more people out of poverty. Let's look for disruptive innovations. Many in the past have been driven by young engineers. Let's continue to do that. Rise up, rise to the challenge, use your engineering skills. Let's inspire some positive changes that can improve the lives of yourself and your fellow countrymen. I think the whole country is really counting on you. I think there's no question that with young engineers like yourselves, the world can indeed be a better place. I think it really is the challenge of the day is to get engineers to develop new solutions as the world evolves. So I think thanks very much to the organisers for inviting me to take part today. It really was a pleasure. And I think it's great as well that we can still do these sorts of events, remotely across the country. So thanks very much for your attention, and it was a pleasure to be with you today.
So Thank you very much for that presentation. Really appreciate it. While we're trying to compile questions from participants, I would like to appreciate the presentation and, of course, specifically some of the contribution of Total to the industry to encourage participants, to encourage innovation and to give back to the society. That goes a long way in encouraging people to be more innovative and be more daring. So really appreciate that. Specifically, some of the innovations that your company has brought on board to encourage teachers and to encourage students to have access to more opportunities irrespective of where they are located, to partner and collaborate with MIT. I think that's a good innovation, and it helps the country as a whole. It helps the engineering sector as a whole to be able to do more. Whatever resources can be gotten from here, it makes it easier for people that are participating and people that are engaged in engineering study and services to be able to do more and leverage on better resources and better curriculum to study and learn, so that we can be world-class in what we do. We can have access to world-class education. And I really appreciate that, and that means a lot to us. So thank you very much for your time. We've been trying to compile questions, but so far we've not really gotten any. But of course, definitely, the more we get, the more we are going to send to you so that we can compile the answers to that. We would not want to keep you waiting much longer. Thank you very much for your time. And of course, Nuesa will reach out further for more collaboration. I personally know that Total has been doing so much to encourage students. In your presentation, you mentioned some statistics of over 500 graduates that has been trained in one of the programs that your company has funded and empowered. I think that goes a long way to tell us that we have a lot of opportunity we can tap into. And of course, we are going to do more of taking advantage. We are hoping to get more than that statistics, but of course we know it has to do with how innovative we are and all of that. So we are going to definitely do more. We are going to be more innovative. We are going to be more daring. And thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. Thanks very much for inviting me. Enjoy the rest of your
all right, you too. All right. That was an interesting one. And in a moment, we'll be inviting the Nuesa National President to give a speech. But before we do that, sincerely, today has been very informative and very innovative. So many opportunities we never had idea existed. Our eyes has been opened to it. So many ideas for students, so many opportunities for students has been highlighted and specifically shared today. While we wait for people to send in their question, I'm going to have the president come on board now for a speech.
Good day, everyone. My name is Dauda Masewalatuji. I'm mostly delighted to welcome you all to this August occasion. Permit me to observe the protocol before I continue. The guest of honor, Engineer Babangana Mohammed, the NSC President and the Grand Patron of Nigerian University of Engineering Student Association, Engineer Mike Santa, the MD and CEO of Total Exploration and Production, Engineer Ehe Rabiu, the Korean President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, the NSC Working Committee, Nuesa National Executive, all protocol are well and duly observed. I'm mostly delighted to welcome you all to this August occasion, the first of its kind in the history of Nigerian University of Engineering Student Association. This is indeed a laudable achievement in the record of our noble association. Over the year, we have strived diligently to model our organization after the most referent Nigerian Society of Engineers and the Council of Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria. In achieving the excellence as young engineers, the unmerited support and fatherly advice we have enjoyed from those two parent bodies and others cannot be overemphasized. Distinguished members, it is no longer a news that we are in a new era of COVID-19. Business and activities across the world has been shut down, and many losing their source of livelihood. With over 19 million cases of coronavirus across the world, the ripple effect sorry for that. The ripple effect has crippled economic of the world with together toil of developing nation where Nigeria belongs. However, as the world continues to find a lasting cure to the virus, businesses and activity must move on. If there is one thing that this novel virus has taught the world, it's that we must continue to innovate our ways out of every situation as engineers. This is what we are meant to be doing every day. The purpose of this virtual summit is to stir up a new course of innovation, new opportunity for young engineers, and bridge the gap between academics and industrial requirements. As we all know, that engineering may remain a meaningful tool in socio-economic and every nation. This summit is designed to help students contribute to national building and leveraging on every resources that we will be making available. Invited guests, chairman of this occasion, the distinguished colleague, we have come a long way to put all this together. I appreciate our partners, the Total Exploration and Production, the BTG, the APOEN, and the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Fellow students, I urge you to maximize this opportunity to the best use. Thank you all.
All right, thank you very much for that presentation and the speech by the president. We apologize for the back and forth. I think the network has been going up and down. We've been trying to switch in between. So far, I think we've had interesting presentation from all of our resource persons, and we have been trying to compile questions from participants. So for every questions that we have, we enjoin our participants to send in their question on all of those platforms. While we're still waiting, please send in your questions so that we can channel them to the appropriate quarters and have answers to them. So this session that we are is the question and answer period. So while we wait for that, let me quickly share with us some of the highlights that has been specifically spoken about today. Some of them are spoken about. One of them is the challenges and opportunities that this period has brought to us. Specifically, COVID-19
COVID-19 has, in a way, shown us that things can be done differently. COVID-19 has shown to us that things can be done differently. And of course, in doing those things differently, challenges would come. So number one is to start to see problems differently. Of course, we have highlighted some of the challenges we have as Nigerians, as students and as practicing engineers. There are so many headaches we have to go through and focus every day. However, the COVID that came and all of the paper presentation we have had today has shown to us that we can have more achievement. We can always find ways around these challenges. And of course, there are resources available to us, specifically when the engineer was speaking, the MD of Total, when he was speaking, he highlighted some of the projects his company has been doing to encourage everyone to give back to the society. And those are things individuals can leverage upon and take advantage of. So someone sent a question here, I believe it is directed to the managing director, that what advice do you have for engineering students with entrepreneurial mindsets that intend setting up an establishment with their engineering skill or experience? I believe when the current speaker was presenting a paper, one of the things that was highlighted was that we should imbibe entrepreneurship as much as possible. We should imbibe entrepreneurship as much as possible. So I believe he's still connected with us. So this question is directed to him. That in what ways can we take advantage of becoming entrepreneurs? Well, while we try to get that across to him, I think from one of the things he has shared, I would like to say that number one would be to identify a problem that needs to be solved. We must identify problems that needs to be solved. And it must be a problem that people are actively looking for solution for. I'll give a quick example. A quick example is having to host conferences and host meetings during lockdown. We had challenges with physical movement and physical meetups during lockdown, and somebody came up with an idea. Someone had actually invented a solution before, and the solution was having meetings virtually using technology. So that was a problem that we had, that majority were having. So we must be able to identify problems. So it starts from identifying problems that people are actively researching for solution for. And of course, once you have your problem, have a proof of concept that you would pitch to people that have resources. Does it align with their goal? Does it align with their core values? You know, when coronavirus came, a need arose. We needed to be washing our hands. And of course, there is a challenge with the conventional way of washing our hands. We need to use the water dispenser. After washing your hand, you still need to use that same hand that you've cleaned to turn the tap off. Some people decided to innovate. They use a motion sensor to design a hand washing machine that detects your hand once it is close to the water dispenser. And that was a solution that met a lot of people's need. So these are things we must start to look out for. These are problems we must start to look out for and proffer solutions to them. A lot of companies now require online presence. They require people to work for them remotely. They require skills. So it has become easy for us now to work with different companies, irrespective of where they are in the world. You can easily collaborate with them with your skills. So those are ways to leverage on these opportunities. And there is a question here for Koren. I believe the representative from Koren is still with us. And the question is, what measure is the body taking? I mean, Koren. What measure is Koren taking in curtailing the damage done by quarks to engineering profession? What is all this regulatory body doing, Koren? Because I think there's been a major challenge we have as engineering students and of course as practicing engineers, people that are half-baked, that are not properly trained. There is no differentiating between them and people that are actually trained. There is one of the gaps that we have between the industry and the academics. The institution, the academics train professionals, but on getting to the industry, there are people who are not well trained that are engaged in services and are taking advantage of that. What are some of the things the regulatory body is doing, current specifically, to help tackle this? So while we're waiting for that, and please, we can keep sending our questions in. We can keep sending our questions in. We'll keep compiling them. Whichever we are not able to get answers to at this moment, we definitely will get those answers in written format and send to our email addresses. Some of our guest speakers had to go back to doing things in their office. That's why we are not having them with us. So please keep bringing in the question. Keep bringing in the question. Yes. While we continue, if there's something we should all take away from this year's summit, because we are planning to round off very soon, in the next few minutes, we'll round off very soon. If there is something we must take from today's summit, is that number one, there are problems, and problems are meant to birth innovations. So we must start to look at problems from different perspectives going forward. We must not see problems and challenges as a limiting factor. Rather, we should see problems and challenges as a way to challenge our innovation and what we are able to offer. Number two, we have the support of industry practitioners and our parent bodies, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Koren, Total, that are willing to give back to the society. There are so many opportunities available for students and for everyone that we can take advantage of. Visit the website of all of these organizations, ask questions, be innovative, and of course, most importantly, seek mentorship. Learn to collaborate. Conferences like this is where we meet people from the industry that are going to be of support, that are willing to mentor, they are willing to take up upcoming engineers and show them from experience things they have done and how they are expected to do it. So we must take advantage of mentorship, then learn to connect with everyone you realize will be able to contribute to your career journey and career success. Connect with them on social media. LinkedIn is an opportunity to connect with them. Reach out to them on those platforms, connect with them, and pitch your ideas to them. So there is no limit. There's no limit to what we can do. There's no limit to what we can do. There's no limit to what we can do. So in a moment, we have some announcements to give, and I want to really appreciate everyone that's taking time to participate today. Thank you for taking time out. We hope we have made a best use of your time. Tomorrow is another time. We'll continue by 11:30 a.m. and we believe much more that we have been able to get answers to some of our probing questions today. By tomorrow, we definitely will get more. So we would be taking the closing remark by the Nuesa National President.
Thank you all for giving us the little time you can offer today. By tomorrow, 11:30, we're having experts in industry, we're having experts in academics, and people to bridge the gap between the academics world and industrial requirements. So by 11:30 tomorrow, all the unanswered questions today will definitely be answered. Thank you all for attending this program.